Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel again. This is a video that I've been thinking about making for a really long time, but I wasn't really sure how I wanted to do it, what I wanted to do. And I came up with this, what you're watching right now. I have a little note in here, so everything's all set. Need to relax. I have ADHD, and yeah, that's what we're going to talk about today. Just to preface, I do want this to be kind of like a new series type thing, where every Tuesday I kind of just pick something to talk about and we'll sit and talk. I'm sure that I'll make tea a lot of the time, that kind of stuff. I'm still getting used to looking at the camera when I talk, which I noticed in the last video didn't really go so well. But I'm working on it, and I'm going to improve, and that's all that matters. Just double checking that everything's right. I'm not going to edit this very much, so I apologize for that clicking noise. That is the focus. Let me just make sure that I'm actually focused. Okay. So to start, I thought I would read the Mayo Clinic definition for ADHD in adults. They do also have a definition for children, but I'm not a child. I'm 21 years old. I'm almost 22. So I'm going to read the adult definition, which says, adult attention deficit / hyperactivity disorder, or also known as ADHD, is a mental health disorder that includes a combination of persistent problems such as difficulty paying attention, hyperactivity, and impulse behavior. Adult ADHD can lead to unstable relationships, poor work or school performance, low self-esteem, and other problems. Though it's called adult ADHD, symptoms start in early childhood and continue into adulthood. In some cases, ADHD is not recognized or diagnosed until the person is an adult. Adult ADHD symptoms may not be as clear as ADHD symptoms in children. In adults, hyperactivity may decrease, but struggles with impulsiveness, restlessness, and difficulty paying attention may continue. Treatment for adult ADHD is similar to treatment for childhood ADHD. Adult ADHD treatment includes medications, psychological counseling, also known as psychotherapy, and treatment for any mental health conditions that occur along with ADHD. So that is the long definition with all of the big words and everything. So I have ADHD. I was diagnosed last year. So I was 19? Oh my god. Was I really 19? No. I was 20. I was 20 in February of last year. I think we'd started talking about it in therapy like when I was 19. So like at the end of 2018, maybe before my birthday. My birthday's in November. I think we had talked about it then, and it took us a while to set up testing because the person who was texting me was new to like the group of people who do therapy where my therapist works. So they were having some difficulties getting him all settled and everything. So it took a while. These are actually my test results, and I pulled them out because I was filming this video, and then I kind of looked at them and I was like, oh, there's some interesting information here. I'm not going to share pretty much any of it, but I will say that my test results say that I do not, or the results of my tests say that I do not have ADHD. But we have kind of determined in therapy and through other ways that just because I'm not hyperactive, combined, or inattentive, which are the three types of ADHD, my official, I guess, diagnosis is unidentified, undefined. I know I said I wasn't going to edit this very much, but if I remember what it is, I think it's undefined is what it is. That's my like official. If you asked me what type I was, I would say it's undefined. So that's that. I'm doing a whole other video in a few weeks about what is it called? There's like a thing. I've recently discovered ADHD Twitter, which is a really stellar group of people. Med shaming is what it is. I couldn't remember if it was stigma or shame. But there's something called med shaming, which is a whole other thing that I want to talk about. But I do take medication for my ADHD. I take it every single day now. I didn't used to before. I was kind of like a take it when you need it kind of thing. But now I've kind of determined that it's something that I need to take every day. And I take 2 of them just for context. If you're an ADHD person, you kind of understand the thing, what I'm talking about. One is long acting and one is short acting. So they're the 2 things. So yeah, I did really well in like high school, like in school in general, honestly. Like I did really well in high school. I did really well on the ACTs that I took. So there like weren't really any signs when I was younger. There wasn't really like reason to suspect anything, but I like vividly remember just sitting in therapy one day. I used to go I still go every other week. Just not in person anymore. We do it over Zoom, and I actually have it right after I'm recording this. But we were sitting there and we were talking about something, and like all of a sudden like she just put the dots together. Because I get this look in my eyes sometimes when I'm talking to people, and it's just like completely glazed over, like not paying attention at all, and you can tell as the other person, you can tell. And that's kind of what sparked her to look into ADHD with me. And we had kind of like brought my mom into the conversation, both my parents, and we kind of talked about like, I've had that look for my entire life. And they just never put it together because I never really had a problem in school. And then I left for college. College is a transition that a lot of people can struggle with for lots of different reasons. But basically the conclusion that we've kind of come to is that me leaving for college and being on my own for the first time kind of sparked something and like changed. It was such a big change that whatever I was doing to cope wasn't working anymore. So everything just kind of fell apart with that. My college experience is something that I'm very public with now, but was very embarrassed by at the time. So yeah, like I don't know. I think a lot of things went into my freshman year of college not going well, but being diagnosed with ADHD was probably a contributing factor. Like there would have been things that I would have done differently if I had ADHD and I was moving out and going to college for the first time. So that was kind of like an eye opening, like, oh wow, that's why things went so bad. So that was like one of the probably best parts about being diagnosed, to be honest, was just like finally having an answer to why everything went so bad when I had it was nice to have an answer to why everything was so hard that freshman year of high school. It was just nice to, I don't know, it was nice to finally have that, like, not closed necessarily, but like it was nice to have some closure as to why it happened and some sort of direction moving forward. So I go to therapy every other week. I am still a student. I finished my associate's degree. I don't think I've talked about it on my channel, but I finished my associate's degree in August, so just a few weeks ago. And I think this video is going up during my first week of school, but I'm starting classes on the 22nd of September at Drexel University. And it's just like, it's a lot. If we're going to talk about it in a different video, but I kind of had a little bit of a breakdown yesterday. I just got so overwhelmed because like none of my professors' info was in the classes and like all this stuff. And I'm like, I've kind of gotten to a point where in order to manage taking classes and doing all of this different stuff, I need to have like everything organized. and it takes a lot of work, but to me, that's what I have to do to be successful. It's not necessarily like I'm spending hours and hours like studying and doing stuff like that. Like I still pick up things pretty quickly, which I think is what was happening in high school. It's like the time management of it and making sure that I know every single assignment and when it's due and what I have to do for it and when lectures are, that kind of stuff. That's the stuff that I have to work on, and I think that's why I was so unsuccessful my first try at college was because I never had to really time manage. In high school, at least for me, my teachers were really good about like, okay, like this essay is due here and you have a draft due and like all this stuff. Like you're going to school from 7:30 in the morning to 2:30 in the afternoon. Like there's no schedule. You got 4 classes a day and that's it. Um, so I think that change kind of has evolved. Like that's why that's the reason that I've come to, and that's kind of why I'm so kind of strict. I'm not super strict. I don't stick to my schedule exactly, but that's why I'm kind of so like, okay, I need to know everything about everything. And the fact that 2 of my professors haven't opened their classes yet makes me really anxious. But it's only Wednesday. They have like 4 more days to do it, and I hope that they do so I can stop stressing. Um, but yeah, that's definitely been a big change that I've kind of made. I started bullet journaling. Bullet Writer Carol, the founder of the bullet journal, actually has ADHD, and that's kind of funny because I started using the bullet journal system like years before I was diagnosed, and I always kind of wondered like why why it worked so well for me. Um, but yeah, he like using that system has always kind of been like a thing that I've liked to do, but like now it's kind of like a thing that I need to do, and you can kind of tell when I haven't done it because I get nervous. Um, I get kind of anxious when I don't do it, and it's just kind of nice to have a neat little space where I can just write out everything that I'm thinking about and just get it out of my head so I can stop thinking about it and focus. I think that's like the best part about having a bullet journal and all of that stuff. And with college being online and being like stuck in my apartment and everything, I've kind of talked about this to friends before, but I really didn't want to live in a studio apartment because I felt the need to have like a separate space for sleeping and relaxing and working. Like those need to be separate for me. And I think I'm going to make a video about it later. It's not scheduled yet, but I've done a pretty good job of doing that in a studio apartment, in my opinion. It is a big studio apartment, I will say that. There's a lot of space, especially compared to the first studio apartment that I lived in. But I feel like I've done a really good job at making separate spaces and all that kind of stuff, and that's something that's really important to me. Um, so having a bullet journal, having separate spaces. I now use a passion planner as well. If you've seen any of my Plan With Me videos, I kind of ditched using Google Calendar to time block and everything and kind of make sure that I have everything in place. I kind of ditched that for a passion planner, which kind of seems counterintuitive. I'm not 100% on it yet. I'm still working on how I want to use it exactly, but being able to like see my week ahead and everything is really important. But I was struggling using it digitally because like it's so much more complicated to set up like 8,000 things on Google Calendar with all the different settings and colors and all of that stuff when I can draw a box using the color key that I use and just write in what's happening. It's just so much easier for me to do it that way. Um, so I'm just still figuring that out. And then the last thing that I use is Notion, which is what I pulled up to read that excerpt. I have I have a box for every video that I make. I have one for every blog post that I do. So like content creation wise, that's how I use it. And then for school, I literally have every single lecture, every single assignment, every exam, every quiz. I have my breaks and they're like fall break and not fall break. No, Thanksgiving break. I do have a fall break. Sorry. Fall break, the end of the semester, finals, all of that stuff is all in a giant to-do list. It is 176 items long right now with 2 of my classes missing, so It's very long, and it takes a very long time to put together, which is why I want my professors to open up their classes. But it's worth it to me because being able to see everything and know, like, okay, I did that assignment, I'm checking it off. It doesn't disappear, but it goes to the bottom of the list so that I can't really see it anymore, and the more important things stay at the top, like the things that are due next go to the top of the list. Like that, oh my gosh, it's awesome. I really love it. I've talked about it a lot. It's a Janus Studies template. I cannot remember for the life of me what order the videos come out in, but I talk about it a little bit in whatever, like one of the videos that's either before or after this one. And there's a link on that video. But like, just having everything organized is super important to me. You can kind of tell when I'm frazzled or like things aren't going well focus wise because my apartment will get messy. You can just tell that like I'm not with it, that I'm not listening to you, and I'm not focusing on you. People that know me really well can tell, but like I think that to other people, like new people, sorry, I'm getting emails, shocker. To new people, sometimes it kind of comes across as rude, and I don't mean it to be. That's one thing that kind of sucks is that like I don't mean to do it. I don't mean to space out. It's not really something that I can control. But to new people who don't know or don't know anything about ADHD, or really like people who are even like ignorant about mental health, it kind of comes across as rude. And instead of asking like, why is this happening? They just kind of are like, oh, you're a rude person. And that kind of sucks. But I wouldn't say that I'm super comfortable with sharing it with people. I'm pretty comfortable with sharing the fact that I have ADHD with people. I'm not super comfortable with telling people that I take medication for it because I'm deathly afraid of people asking, oh my gosh, like, those make you super smart. Can I try one? Like that kind of stuff. So I'm going to talk about that more with the med shaming part of this. The med shaming video that's happening down the line. But yeah, it's definitely, it feels like a weird thing to talk about, but it shouldn't be. And I'm trying to get better at not feeling weird about it, basically, is what I'm saying. Since like taking my bullet journal seriously, getting medicated, using Notion, all of that kind of stuff, since like building new coping mechanisms to handle time management and that kind of stuff, I have improved drastically. My GPA from CCP was a 3.76, and I'm so proud of it. And I can't wait to get my diploma. It should be shipping in the next couple weeks, and I can finally hang it on my wall. But like, it's definitely, it's a pretty drastic change. I kind of had to like learn how to live on my own, which was like, that's not something that everybody has to go through. Like when you leave for college, obviously like you're going to live in a dorm or an apartment or whatever, and like it's hard, but like it's hard in a different way, if that makes sense. It's hard in like like relearning kind of way. It's like I feel like for somebody who doesn't have ADHD or other mental health diagnoses, I feel like going to college is kind of like a different experience, if that makes sense. It's less of like oh my gosh, like what do I do in this moment, or like I'm so overwhelmed by everything, and instead it's kind of like I'm going to parties and like all of that kind of stuff. That's another thing about that will go in med shaming, is being a college student that takes medications and drinking and all of that kind of stuff. That has been a process and a half to go through. Yeah, it's been a road. I guess it's been like, I don't know, math, like 20 months now since I've been diagnosed. It's been a journey. But like the second that my therapist said, I wonder if you have ADHD, we should look into this. The second that she said that, I was like, oh my god. And I like went home that day. I think I was still going to her. When I was going to her, I think I lived in the city when I was diagnosed. Yeah, I must have. So I was just like sitting on the train. I think it took me like an hour to take the train from her old office back to my apartment. And I was just sitting there Googling and like looking at all this stuff. Um, and I was just, like, everything just clicked. And I was like, that's why. Like, that's definitely the answer. Um, so yeah, it's definitely been, like, it's been a journey and it's been a long one. And there's still so much more to go. Like, I'm only 21 years old. Um, but it's definitely been like a positive journey. Like, I learn little things about myself every single day. Um, yeah, that kind of stuff. What else? I don't know. What else can I talk about? It's gonna be a long video. Um, I guess like, I don't know. I feel like since COVID, especially, I've kind of come across like different communities of people with ADHD digitally, not like at school or anything like that, but like online. Like there's a Twitter ADHD community that I'm like kind of starting to wiggle my way into. And there's like ADHD TikTok and ADHD Instagram, and like all of these things that I'm figuring out. I'm in a Facebook group even with like thousands of people with ADHD, and it's like it's kind of incredible. Like we're all the same, but we're all so different too. I know that sounds like so cliche, but like today even I posted in the Facebook group like, does anybody else who have like when you get tracking on a package, does anybody else like spend the entire day checking the tracking even if it says what time the package is coming? And so many people were like, "Oh my god, yes I do." Like I really love it when they have like on Amazon when you order something and it has like the map and everything. We were talking about that. Um, just like being able to connect with people, I think like, oh my god, it's been like a little bit like it's been kind of like another phase in my journey is being able to connect with people who are like the same. And like we can talk about stuff that like I can't really talk about with anybody else that I know at least. So yeah, that's been really fun. Um, yeah, I don't even know really what else to say. Um, yeah. I don't know how to like end these videos or anything either, because in the last one I was watching my end card and I was like trying to scoot away and I like didn't get out of the frame and I was just like sitting there on my phone and I was like, oh, this looks like crap, but okay. But yeah, I don't know. I guess like that's my journey. There are lots of people with ADHD and ADD diagnoses. Some take medication, some don't. All of that kind of stuff. Some have been self-diagnosed. All of that jazz and stuff. So I'm just one person. I'm not every person, and I'm not trying to speak for every person. I just really wanted to share my journey, sort of for myself, honestly. Starting a YouTube channel has kind of been like a memory keeping kind of thing for me. Like I'm excited about what I'm making now and what my plan is for future videos and stuff, but I'm also really excited to like come back to it in a few years and look at like what I was doing, where I was in my journey, all of that different kind of stuff. So while I am sharing this in a very public place, I'm also doing it for myself. So just keep that in mind as well. Like I'm one person. I am definitely not everybody. So I would just keep that in mind as well. But yeah, I don't know. I guess, I don't know. I don't know how to end this video. I hope that you guys enjoyed me rambling and talking, because that's going to be the new thing that happens on Tuesdays on this channel. Yeah, it's going to be called Let's Talk, and every week I'm just going to pick something new. But anyways, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye!